Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. We are from group 2 from class B, and now we will present about the questions that we already discussed about what we should know about ELTOs. Okay, but before that, I introduce my group members. The first is me, Usmiati, and the second is Nurizani, and the three is Alda Bastin, and the four is Reza Al-Fadil Armi, and the last is Fatur Rahman Muarif. Okay, question number 1. ELTOS assesses the effectiveness of classroom management strategies in English language course by examining their impact on student engagement, behavior, and learning outcomes. Question number 2. ELTOS evaluates the incorporation of technology in English language teaching based on criteria such as accessibility, relevance to learning objectivities, interactivity, and effectiveness in enhancing language acquisition. Number 3, ELTOS measure the use of authentic material and real-life context in English language lessons by considering factors like authenticity, relevance to learners' experience, culture appropriateness, and alignment with learning objectives. Number 4, ELTOS evaluates the implementation of communicative language teaching principles in English language classroom by assessing factors such as student interaction, meaningful communication, task-based activities, and language proficiency development.
The next question is indicators of assessing students' engagement and interaction. Is that ELTOS typically looks for several indicators to gauge students' engagement and interaction during English language lessons. These indicators may include active participation in classroom activities, such as discussion, group work, and presentations. The next question is evaluation process for providing meaningful feedback and correction. Is that ELTOS employs a systematic process to evaluate provision of feedback and correction in English language instructions. This process typically involves assessing the timeline's specificity and effectiveness of feedback provided by teachers. Next question is assessment of teacher adaptation to diverse learner needs. Is that ELTOS assess teachers' ability to adapt instruction to the diverse needs and proficiency levels of English language learners through various means. These assessments often involves observing how teachers differentiate instruction to accommodate learners with different language backgrounds, learning styles, and abilities. And next question is strategies for promoting learner autonomy and independence. Is that ELTOS recognize a range of strategies for promoting learner autonomy and independence in English language learning environments. These strategies may include fostering learner agency through goal setting, self-assessment, and reflection activities. ELTOS evaluators look for evidence of opportunities for learners to take ownership of their learning process, such as through self-directed learning tasks, project-based assessments, and peer collaborations.
Okay, the next question is about number 9. How does ELTOS evaluate the integration of cultural awareness and sensitivity into English language teaching practice? Question number 10. Can you explain the role of ongoing professional development and reflection in meeting the criteria set for by ELTOS for English language instructors? And the next is question number 11. How does ELTOS assess the alignment of lesson objectives, activities, and assessments in English language course? And question number 12. Can you explain how ELTOS evaluates the use on varied instructional teaching techniques to address different learning styles in English language instruction.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Reza Nurfadil Army from Group B, Class B. And now I will explain about our group questions number 13 and to 16. Number 13. What indicators does ELTOS use to measure the effectiveness of scaffolding techniques in supporting English language learners? Jadi indikator apa yang digunakan ELTOS untuk mengukur keefektifan teknik scaffolding dalam mendukung pembelajar bahasa Inggris? Number 14. How does ELTOS assess the integration of language skills like reading, writing, listening, and speaking in English language lessons? Jadi bagaimana ELTOS menilai integrasi keterampilan berbahasa seperti reading, writing, listening, dan speaking dalam pembelajaran bahasa Inggris? And now number 15. Can you describe the criteria ELTOS uses to evaluate the promotion of language fluency and accuracy in English language teaching? Dapatkah Anda menjelaskan kriteria yang digunakan ELTOS untuk mengevaluasi promosi kefasihan dan ketepatan bahasa dalam pengajaran bahasa Inggris? And the last one is 16. What strategies does ELTOS recognize for fostering a supportive and inclusive learning environment for English language learners? Jadi strategi apa yang diakui oleh ELTOS untuk mengembangkan lingkungan belajar yang mendukung dan inklusif bagi pelajar bahasa Inggris? Thank you.
17. How does ELTOS evaluate the effectiveness of formative assessment practice in English learning instruction? This is the question we want to ask because we want to understand how ELTOS evaluate the effectiveness of formative assessment practice help in improving teaching methods that continuously monitor student progress, leading to the better learning outcomes. 18. Can you explain how ELTOS assess the integration of cultural and global perspective into English language curriculum and instruction? We ask this because we want to explain how ELTOS assess the integration of cultural and global perspective into English language curriculum and ensure that learners are exposed to diverse cultural contexts, enhancing their language proficiency and intellectual competence. 19. What criteria does ELTOS use to evaluate the effectiveness of peer collaboration, corporate and cooperative learning in English classroom? This question is we want to know the criteria ELTOS use to evaluate peer collaboration and cooperative learning. Help educators create environment that foster elaborate skills which are vital for language acquisition and social development. And 20. How does ELTOS assess the use of authentic assessment method to evaluate English language proficiency and progress? We ask this because we want to know how ELTOS assess the use of authentic assessment methods that students are evaluated based on real-world language tasks, providing more accurate measure of their language proficiency and progress.